Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion on Jamuna Television. I'm your host Ahmed Reza, and today we have a special program exploring the evolving relationship between France and Bangladesh, from the trade and investment to climate diplomacy and cultural exchange. The two nations continue to deepen their partnership. Dear viewers, it's an absolute privilege to welcome His Excellency Ms. Mphairi Massoudoupi, the Honorable Ambassador of France to Bangladesh. Excellency, welcome to Opinion, and how have you been?
Thank you very much for inviting me to your prestigious TV station. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Excellency, we have lots of questions to ask to you. And at the very beginning, I will be asking to you regarding the new era of Bangladesh. As you know, how important it is to discuss or to focus on. And if I talk about the Bangladesh next generation, and Bangladesh is entering a new era, as you know, with generation Gen Z, who is playing an incredibly influential role here in Bangladesh. So how do you see the demographic shaping, if I talk about the relationship between France and Bangladesh?
Well, that's a very important question. I think the youth of Bangladesh has always been playing a very important role in the history of your country, in the shaping of your country from the start, from before the independence and the liberation, and in many other occasions since then. So this time the youth has managed to come to power, and this is very encouraging because your country is a very young and dynamic country. The impact on our relation is that it encourages us to look more to the aspirations of the youth and to see what kind of cooperations can be hopefully useful for them in many areas, starting with education, starting with skilling in different areas. So it's a lot of hope.
Yeah, of course we do think so. There is a lots of hope. But would you kindly mention about the current state of our relationship, bilateral relationship between two countries like France and Bangladesh?
Well, France and Bangladesh have been enjoying a very old and deep friendly relationship. So we are still enjoying this very friendly relationship. Our two countries share a lot of interests, share many values, many aspirations, and we are looking to deepen this even more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Excellency. Now I would like to talk about the trade and investment. As you know, how important it is between two countries, and Bangladesh is growing rapidly. And what are the key sectors where France seeks to expand economic cooperation? How do these align with Bangladesh's development goals as well?
Well, I would like to say something. First, at the basis of the relationship between our two countries, is the wish to support Bangladesh in furthering its strategic autonomy. So this is the guiding principle which is presiding over our relation. And this, in terms of trade and investment, of course, it leads us to develop our cooperations in aerospace, in energy, including energy transition, in digitalization of your economy, of your society, and many other sectors.
Bangladesh is focusing more about the investment issues. Probably the current government, the running government, they are trying their level best to attract the investor from different part of the world. So they are seeking different kind of investment, as you know. So regarding that perspective, or if I talk about these issues with the country like France, so how do you focus about these issues to collaborate with Bangladesh?
Well, we would very much like to see French companies investing more in Bangladesh, because there's a big competition. So investing, of course, would allow us to enlarge our imprint in your country. But there were many hurdles before, which explains the very low level of French investments in your country. These hurdles cannot be removed in a few weeks or months, and we understand it.
Yeah.
But we are looking very much forward to the economic and legal reforms which will see these hurdles disappear. And of course, amongst the hurdles, I'm having in mind corruption. And fighting against corruption is definitely a priority of your government, of the interim government. I'm sure it will be also a priority of any future government, because this is one of the main reasons why this uprising last July, August happened. So this is a very important factor that has to be considered before getting serious, solid, large foreign investments.
Yeah, so you have shared your concern or from your perspective, but I just I would like to know about a different perspective about the social development or the current scenario of Bangladesh. How do you assess this kind of situation?
Well, there are lots of ideas on the table to reform the economy, to reform the social sectors. It will take some time, but I would not like to comment on your domestic situation.
Yeah, of course, you are free to share your everything. But if I talk about the future of development aid, as you know that we think that France is one of the key stakeholder of Bangladesh. So, with shifting global priorities, how does France plan to contribute its development assistance to Bangladesh? Are there any new area of focus?
Well, first of all, I would like to mention that we would be very happy to see our current development projects being carried out, being implemented, and there are some technical issues. Some of the projects are a bit stuck, and we would be very happy. And I know we can count on the support of the concerned advisors, of course, but some of the other stakeholders sometimes don't make it easy to further those projects. Considering the future, I'm very hopeful that Bangladesh will receive a growing amount of development aid from France.
Yeah.
I hope this will be the case very soon, and we are definitely focusing in your country on adaptation to climate change, on energy, on water, on health, on biodiversity and other sectors.
Yeah, as you have mentioned about the climate change impact, so we'll discuss about that issues, and we will discuss about the reform issues, what's going on here and how do you assess this kind of situation. So before that, I think that I have to take a short break and we'll be right back as early as possible. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we have just explored some insightful perspectives from our guests, but there's so much more to uncover. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Dear viewers, welcome once again, and Excellency, welcome once again to you as well. And we just discussed a couple of issues, but right now I would like to talk about the reforms of Bangladesh. So, supporting Bangladesh reform, if I talk about that issues, you know that the interim government has initiated significant reforms in multiple sectors, as you mentioned before already. So, how can France provide strategic support to ensure these reforms are successful?
Well, of course, we are very, very supportive of all the efforts which the interim government has been starting. We would like to increase our support in the security sector, civil defense sector, judiciary probably, and why not also in the fight against corruption.
Yeah.
I think these are very important areas, and we're looking forward to support in this. And of course, we are definitely engaged in your development efforts, in particular in climate change area.
Thank you, Excellency. But if you allow me, then I will ask a supporting question regarding the issues of judiciary system reforms issues. So what kind of plans or initiative do you have to support these reforms issues with Bangladesh?
We're looking at the different possibilities,
yeah.
and we're reviewing it currently, so I cannot be very more precise.
Excellency, just I would like to know about the media reform issues. And as you know that how important it is, and as we're in the media house right now, so I just want to know about these issues as well. Do you have any thoughts on media reform or press freedom in Bangladesh?
Well, obviously one of the driving issues which led to the uprising last summer was about freedom of expression, freedom of press, because there were many very problematic situations before. So everybody has a lot of hope in this area, and everybody is looking very carefully at what's going on in this issue, and we really sincerely hope that freedom of expression, freedom of press will be upheld to the level that this should be in your country.
Do you have any kind of picturization or example like that after the changing the government? What kind of situation we are having?
If I understand well your question, I would say that there were a few situations concerning the rights of journalists, their freedom of how they want to work.
Yeah.
And there were a few issues about this, so we hope that this will be upheld properly for the sake of freedom of press and freedom of expression.
Thank you, Excellency. And France has been a leader in climate diplomacy, and especially after the Paris Agreement. How does France plan to work with Bangladesh and other South Asian countries to enhance climate adaptation and resilience as well?
Well, I would like to say that we look at our two countries, your country, Bangladesh, and France, as two champions in terms of climate change issues.
Yeah.
France is a champion in leading with very prominent initiatives, particularly in the area of climate finance, which is fundamental.
Yeah.
And your country is a leader in terms of adaptation to climate change. Your experience is so rich. Your people have so much to teach to the rest of the world. Yeah. So joining our efforts for us has been obvious from many years, and we want to make sure that jointly we promote a lot of very smart projects for adaptation to climate change, locally led adaptation projects from bottom to top, which are results oriented, which benefit the people. And generally speaking, France is promoting a lot more of adaptation finance, because adaptation to climate change has been always underfunded. Yeah. So we are advocating at any occasion to enhance finance of climate adaptation.
Trump already he has shared his vision that he doesn't believe about the climate or something else. So regarding that perspective, as you know, Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable country, and we are having a concern when the influential leader is thinking like that way. So how do you see about the concern of Bangladesh?
I understand your concern. France understands the concerns of a country like Bangladesh and many others. France and its partners in the European Union will make their best efforts to maintain the pace of climate finance, which is needed to tackle this absolutely huge challenge. Of course, the decision of the new American president to leave the Paris Accord, and we know his views about climate change, is worrying for sure. But there is also some hopes, because a lot of power in the United States lies with the federal states, with the communities. So there are lots of initiatives which will remain. So it will not be as gloomy as we could have thought, hopefully.
Yeah, still we have hope that France or the European Union is still trying their level best to minimize the situation. So, Excellency, now I would like to talk about the energy transition and renewable issues. And France has heavily invested in nuclear and renewable energy. What role do you see for clean energy solution in Bangladesh energy transition?
Well, we heard recently the decision by Bangladesh to cancel the previous agreements or contracts which were passed in this area, in the area of renewable energies. And we fully understand the preoccupation about transparency of tenders, and this is very laudable. So our companies are ready to bid in the new tenders which are or which will come out from your government, and we are fully ready to participate in tenders. And we understand that government-to-government solutions are not on the table, and I think this is fair. Everybody can compete.
Yeah, indeed. And if I talk about the balancing economic growth and sustainability, France is a developed nation that also advocates for sustainable practices. How does it balance economic growth with environmental responsibility, and what lessons can Bangladesh take from this?
Even in a country like France, which has a very solid developed basis, industrial, in agriculture, in services, in very sophisticated technologies, we are constantly facing the dilemma: should we explore this new technological avenue, industrial avenue, or should we refrain because it could have an impact on the environment? And there are very tense and hot discussions between authorities, local authorities, civil society. So in a country like your country, of course, it is also about looking for rapid, quick growth at the expense of protecting the environment, fighting against climate change. But our opinion is that no country should be facing such a dilemma. Either we have to fight poverty by super speedy growth, or we fight against climate change. We think we can reconcile both through adapted financial instruments, through the inclusion of civil society in the decision-making about the economic main decisions and the climate change projects.
Now I'll discuss about different topics, and which is about geopolitical implications. And as you know, the France potential troop deployment in Greenland is making headlines. So how might this impact transatlantic relations and European security in response to shifting US policies?
So, thank you very much for giving me the occasion to correct what I consider as a very big disinformation campaign about France. No, France is not willing or is not going to deploy French troops in Greenland. Let's go back to the origin of the issue. As you know, almost 3 years ago, Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia turned to China to get support in its big enterprise, malign enterprise. In exchange, Russia offered to China to open some of its Arctic routes. of course, this caused worries for all of us in Europe and in the United States. So we understand the worries that are behind the expression by the American president about the Greenland issue. We have been discussing with our European partners about enhancing the security of our borders, because no one can play with the borders of the EU in the north, in the south, in the east, or in the west. No one can play. So we are currently discussing. We have met the authorities of Denmark, and Denmark has not expressed the wish for now to have enhanced military presence in that particular territory. But of course, this is part of our security and defense EU discussion that we should have, that we are having. So France is not deploying troops in Greenland.
Yeah, thank you, Excellency, for your insightful remarks, and we will discuss about the countering misinformation as well, and also we'll discuss about the Indo-Pacific region, human rights issues in Bangladesh, and also cultural diplomacy. But before that, I have to take a break. What an engaging discussion so far, ladies and gentlemen. We have explored key areas of cooperations, but there's still more to discuss. Stay tuned with us, and we are coming back as early as possible. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable France Ambassador is with us. Excellency, once again, I'm just welcoming you. Now, I would like to talk about the France roles in the Indo-Pacific issues. And as you know, France has growing interest in the Indo-Pacific. How does it view its role in regional stability, and where does Bangladesh fit into this vision?
Well, France in Europe was the first nation to think in terms of Indo-Pacific strategy. And then the EU adopted an Indo-Pacific strategy. We think there is a third path. Our approach is a non-confrontational approach. We think cooperation is always better than confrontation. Of course, when our interests have to be protected, we can have very strong words or deeds. But in general, we prefer to cooperate and to engage with everybody to understand what is at stake, what problems and how we can handle them. Our strategy is many-fold. It encompasses many sectors, and I would like to maybe draw the spotlight on blue economy. Blue economy has to be developed. The potential is huge in general, and for a country like Bangladesh, blue economy development would bring a certain number of growth points additionally to your normal growth. So I hope Bangladesh will consider boosting its efforts in the development of its blue economy, because the untapped potential is really huge. Of course, we are ready to cooperate in this sector as well. We are very engaged also in the fight against illicit fishing, against all the traffics that can take place in the very vast Indo-Pacific area. French forces, French Navy is constantly contributing to securing the environment in the Indo-Pacific region. We have a very large economic zone in the area because of our territories, which are on the 5 continents. So we hope that dialogue and inclusivity can always prevail in the relations between the states of the region.
Yeah, Excellency, probably you may know that Bangladesh have already shared the Indo-Pacific strategy. So do you have any comments about that or the strategies?
I think it was a very good move by Bangladesh to adopt its Indo-Pacific outlook. It goes in the right direction. It shows an aim. It shows an objective to be pursued, and we would be very happy to see Bangladesh getting more and more involved in all our different efforts. Bangladesh is already part of some initiatives in the maritime security area, like 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗶𝘀𝗶 and others. So we're looking forward for more engagement from your side.
Thank you. Thank you for your insightful remarks. And just right now, I would like to know about the human rights and governance issues here in Bangladesh. And just a few days back or few months back, we just came to know there are lots of concern about the human rights situation here in Bangladesh. So how would you evaluate the human rights situation in Bangladesh right now, and what role can France play in supporting progress in this area?
Well, I think upholding human rights was at the core of the uprising of Bangladeshi population last summer. The scope of human rights violations in the previous regime was phenomenal, was huge. And we are still discovering some of the events which took place then. So the hope for improvement of human rights in your country is as huge as the violations were previously. So we have a lot of hope. We are ready to support, including by capacity building, by supporting civil society organizations who can play a very important role in monitoring the situation. It is very important to keep a close eye on the situation, in particular of marginalized communities, of minorities, be it religious minorities, be it ethnic minorities, and of course also, and mainly, I would say, in my view, the rights of women. The rights of women have to be very protected. We heard yesterday that a football tournament in your country had been cancelled for some obscure, ununderstandable reason. This is very, very regrettable in our view.
Yeah, indeed, we think so as well. And thanks for your concern about these issues as well. And right now, I would like to know about the cultural diplomacy and people-to-people ties, as you know that how important it is to talk about or to discuss about. And what kind of initiative do you have to make it stronger between the two countries? I mean, if I talk about the people-to-people ties.
Well, I'm very happy that you raised this issue, because I think cultural diplomacy,
which is very important.
Cultural influence should be at the heart of our diplomacies and at the heart of all our initiatives. France is a very old cultural partner of Bangladesh before Bangladesh became Bangladesh. We are very proud of the work done by our Alliance Française in 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀 and in Dhaka. They are very upbeat cultural centers. The support for young Bangladeshi artists has been constant and very massive. And the exchanges between French artists, Bangladeshi artists, has continued all these years. And the links are extremely deep. We are developing new programs of residencies. So Bangladeshi artists going for a few months in France and French artists coming here to Bangladesh. We currently have two artists two French artists in Bangladesh. And of course, the way they look at another country is so enriching, because they don't look at it like you as a journalist or me as a diplomat or a civil servant or a business person. So it's so enriching, and this should be encouraged by all means.
Yeah, and there is many more chance to know about the France, or there is many more chance to know about the Bangladesh. As you know that there are many things that are ongoing, especially if I talk about the OTT platform, and from that platform I came to know about the Emily in Paris, which is a very, good one to know about France, how it is. And Excellency, just I would like to know about right now about a crisis. As you know, we are having lots of crises. We have political unrest. We are right now thinking about the economical situation as well. But except these things, we have a very big issues like Rohingya crisis. So we are having a crisis for a long time, and we are trying our level best to solve this. And the final destination and the final things we are talking about the repatriation. So what kind of initiative or what kind of thoughts do you have that how France can support Bangladesh regarding these issues?
Well, France has been very convinced donor of humanitarian aid to Rohingya people in Bangladesh from the start, since many years.
Yeah.
We are very happy about the latest developments decided by the interim government to register the newly arrived Rohingyas because of the situation on the other side of the border, and also the possibility for Rohingya in the camps to have more solid shelters. This is very important. We had been pushing for those decisions for the last years, and eventually now the interim government did it. This is a very encouraging measure. Looking beyond that, the situation in Burma is very tense.
Yeah.
If you look at specifically the situation in Rakhine State, there are hundreds of thousands of people who are suffering from health issues, who don't have enough food, who don't have jobs. The situation is extremely complex. So we are looking forward to a successful international conference, as Honorable Chief Advisor Dr. Yunus proposed a few months ago. We hope this conference can bring everybody around the table and find practical solutions so that the situation on the other side of the border can be handled in a smoother way, that the people who are there are not forced to flee to your country. So we are looking forward, but this will take a lot of efforts from everyone in the international community to devise proper solutions, not only financial solutions, but also with a lot of political goodwill by all the concerned stakeholders. And I would like to use the opportunity to praise what the UNHCR and IOM have been doing in the last years with in the Rohingya camps.
Yeah, Excellency, we are looking forward to have the solution regarding these issues as well. And now I would like to talk about another crisis, and which is international as well, an impact of the Ukraine-Russia war. And the conflict has disrupted global energy and food security. As you mentioned before, that we are having this kind of crisis as well. How can France collaborate with Bangladesh to mitigate these challenges?
Well, I would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
You said food supply chains, energy supply chains have been disrupted.
Yeah.
They have been disrupted because of what Mr. Putin did. So, for a country like Bangladesh, which has been impacted,
Indeed,
like many others, but
like many others,
you have been impacted, then you should go and tell Mr. Putin, please, go back. Don't invade your neighbor. This is very bad. This is a violation of UN Charter.
Yeah, indeed.
So a country like Bangladesh should be supportive of the efforts of the rest of the international community and support us in the United Nations against the malign efforts of Mr. Putin to disrupt all these supply chains. Unfortunately, it has not been happening. It's a bit disappointing. Yeah. Maybe there is an illusion that being part of the global south for a country like Bangladesh should lead you to have a different approach of such crisis. But maybe in that case, global south should be seen as an illusion, because it doesn't bring any more aid or any more support. to a country like Bangladesh in concrete terms. The only way is for Russia to stop its aggression and for the rest of the international community to stand united in conveying the same message. So we would be very happy to see Bangladesh joining us in these efforts.
Thank you, Excellency. And I have a last question for you, that countering misinformation and disinformation. And you know that it's a challenge for a country like Bangladesh, and it's not only like for the Bangladesh particularly, it's for all over the country as well. So what strategies does France envisions for tackling this misinformation and disinformation, particularly in emerging democracies?
Bangladesh has been under a massive disinformation campaign since a long time. It's not only since the last months, but even before. France also is being a victim with regular disinformation campaigns. What we have done is joining our efforts with our European partners, because we are all to different degrees victims of that, elaborating legal instruments which are valid for all the countries of European Union, including devising rules that the main platforms, Facebook, Google, X, all the platforms should respect. And if not, then there are consequences, legal consequences, financial consequences, technical consequences. And we have started this very strong and clear dialogue with the platforms. I think this is the only way to try to control a little bit what is going on social media, is by establishing a strong, firm dialogue with the platforms.
Okay.
Now, of course, what the platforms do internally, we don't have a control. And we were very disappointed when we heard that Meta would stop fact-checking, moderating what is going on in their social media, at least for the American audience. But probably it will lower the level of countering disinformation in general, worldwide. This is very preoccupying. We deeply regret it, but we have a dialogue with them. So it's important, because we're all victims of disinformation. Yeah. The most important second thing is digital literacy. The public, the youngsters, the children have to be educated in digital literacy. Otherwise, they are unconscious victims. And it's not only about political disinformation. It's also about scams, financial scams. Yeah. And this is a growing phenomenon. It is very, very deeply preoccupying, because people can end up very miserable because they were deprived of their data, their financial data, their financial assets. This can lead to very, very disturbing situations. So, and online violence also is another very important issue, which is growing everywhere in the world. So we have to, it's a responsibility of the governments to protect their citizens and educate them to prevent them becoming victims of all that.
Yeah, thank you, Excellency, for sharing such remarks, especially about the countering misinformation and disinformation. And just I would like to request to you that, do you have any kind of message for the viewers who are watching this show?
Well, my message would be, the history of Bangladesh is very rich. Your culture, your arts are very, very admirable. Protect it, cherish it, and innovate and support your artists always.
I'm just curious to know about that. Do you know any Bangla words? You can share if you want.
Okay. আমি খুব খুশি যে এখানে আজকে ছিলাম।
Oh, thank you, Excellency. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on Opinion. Thank you for your valuable insights and for your valuable time here in Jamuna Television. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. Until next time, I'm Ahmed Reza, and this is Opinion, where your voice counts. Stay informed and engaged.